all of them, there are many prescribed duties which can be learned only after many years of study. Therefore, O sage, please select the essential teachings of all these scriptures and explain them for the good of all living beings, that by such instructions their hearts may be satisfied. Purport: Atma or self is distinguished from matter and material elements. It is spiritual in constitution, and thus it is never satisfied by any amount of material planning. All scriptures and spiritual instructions are meant for the satisfaction of this self or Atma. There are many varieties of approaches which are recommended for different types of living beings in different times and at different places. Consequently, the numbers of revealed scriptures are innumerable. There are different methods and prescribed duties recommended in these various scriptures. Taking into consideration the fallen condition of the people in general in this age of Kali, the sages of Naimisharanya suggested that Sri Suta Goswami relate the essence of all such scriptures, because in this age it is not possible for the fallen souls to understand and undergo all the lessons of all these various scriptures in Varna and Ashram system. The Varna and Ashram society was considered to be the best institution for lifting the human being to the spiritual platform. But due to Kali Yuga, it is not possible to execute the rules and regulations of these institutions. Nor is it possible for the people in general to completely sever relations with their families as the Varnashram institution prescribes. The whole atmosphere is surcharged with opposition, and considering this, one can see that spiritual emancipation for the common man in this age is very difficult. The reason for the sage's inquiry into this matter is explained in the following verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Shloka,
There are many varieties.
Which is the shloka number?
11.
Okay.
1.1.10.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Yes. So, see, we have read that verse, Atah Pumbir Dvija Shrestha, that all the activities prescribed in the scriptures are meant for upliftment of the human beings. Now, human beings come in variety of combinations of the three modes of nature. So, those in the mode of ignorance are Shudras, combination of passion and ignorance are Vaishyas, predominantly passion are Kshatriyas, and predominantly Satogun are Brahmanas. And in between, there are many combinations. For example, Brahmana is not necessarily always purely under Satogun. For example, we see the story of Dronacharya, who was influenced by the mode of passion. Therefore, he had Kshatriya tendencies. So, depending upon the combinations of these modes, different types of rules and regulations are prescribed for the upliftment. But what happens is, in the absence of qualified Brahmanas prescribing this religion and society being guided by Brahminical principles, these instructions offered by various scriptures become very confusing. Like today, if we see, like as Srila Prabhupada explains, that scriptures like Quran or Bible, they are meant to uplift those who are in the lowest mode of ignorance. Very low class people, meat eaters, demonic. So their instructions are accordingly at the very basic level. But if someone tries to evaluate them on the basis of modern day, or on the basis of qualities of Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, you'll find them very basic and bewildering. On the other hand, these people, if they somehow or the other manage to lay their hands on Vedic scriptures, will find the Vedas very bewildering. And as a result of that, what happens is that there are so many conflicts, and no one really knows what has to be followed. Like, for example, in India, all the religions are present, and no one really knows which is the true religion. This is the confusion which is caused when the society becomes degraded to the level of animals, when the culture of knowledge is lost. So, Varnashram essentially is the best religious process because it takes into account all the types of qualifications that a man could possibly possess, depending upon the influence of modes of nature. But even that is very difficult to implement in this age because no one is qualified even to understand the Vedas, Vedic knowledge. So therefore, the sages of Naimisharanya are now requesting Srila Suta Goswami to give a definitive instruction as to what is the religious process in this confused age of Kali, where the whole atmosphere is surcharged with opposition. There is, everyone is against dharma here. Everyone is degraded to such levels that they are just running after gross sense gratification and considering sense gratification itself to be a path of religion. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments? Okay, then we continue. Text number 12. Sut janasi bhadram te
Janasi Bhadram
Bhadramte
Te
bhagwan satvatam pate
Bhagwan
भगवान्
Satyavam
सात्वतां
Pati
पति
devakyam vasudevasya
Devakyam
देवक्यां वासुदेवस्य
jato yasya chikirshaya.
जातो
Jasya
यस्य
Shaya.
चिकित्सया.
Yes,
Can I read,
You
Prabhu?
read, Prabhu?
Okay, Ramtala Prabhu, you
Go
can read.
on. Hare
yes,
Krishna.
please.
Translation and purport by Divine Grace Swami Prabhupada. Translation. All blessings upon you, O Suta Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. Purport. Bhagavan means Almighty God, who is the controller of all opulence, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. He is the protector of his pure devotees. Although God is equally disposed to everyone, he is especially inclined to his devotees. Sat means absolute truth, and persons who are servitors of the absolute truth are called Sattvatas. And the personality of Godhead who protects such pure devotees is known as the protectors of the Sattvatas. Bhadramte, or blessings upon you, indicates the sage's anxiety to know the absolute truth from the speaker. Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared to Devaki, the wife of Vasudeva. Vasudeva is a symbol of the transcendental position wherein the appearance of the Supreme Lord takes place. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. All blessings upon you, O Suta Goswami. You know for what purpose the personality of Godhead appeared in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. So Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthana adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham. So he's saying that, so in these two verses, first verse, Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So whenever there is a decline in religious principles, I descend. And in the second verse, Krishna says, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So how he does it? By delivering the devotees and destroying, annihilating the miscreants and re-establishing the principles of religion. So, so he descends when religion declines to re-establish it. And he re-establishes it by delivering the saintly and annihilating the miscreants. So the great souls, the sattvatas, the great souls who are saintly, hey, they can understand. So this personality of Godhead actually does not declare he is the personality of Godhead. By observing his symptoms, the great sages can understand. Avatar nahi kahe ami avatar, lakshana jani muni karaha vichar. So the great sages, they can understand by qualifications that this personality is the personality of Godhead. So, and it can be sometimes like in some cases it is very easy. Lord Ram and Lord Krishna perform magnificent activities, but in certain cases it is very difficult. Like we see the example of Maharaj Prithu, who manifested as an ordinary king, as an ordinary human being, and then he later on manifested the qualities of the personality of Godhead. So, such personalities who can identify, they are known as sattvatas. So they are the great souls. And therefore, the sages are blessing him, Bhadramte, blessings upon you. So they are very anxious to know the principles of religion, but they understand that a sage of the caliber of Srila Suta Goswami can understand the appearance and purpose of appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, they are requesting him to reveal the true purpose of the personality of Godhead and what needs to be done in this terrifying age of Kali. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments here? Okay, then we continue. Text number 13. Tanna Shushrushamananam
Tanna
Tanna
Sushrushyamananam
Shushrushamananam
Arhasya Anganu Varnitum
Arhasi
Arhasi
Angam Varni
Anganu Varnitum
Yasyavataro Bhutanam
Yasya
Syavataro
Avataro
Bhutanam
Bhutanam
Shemaya cha Bhavaya cha.
Shemaya
Shemaya Cha
Bhavaya Cha.
Bhagavaya Cha.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
please,
Prabhu,
if
I'll
you would
read
like
then.
to read. Yes, Prabhu.
Translation. O Sutta Goswami, we are eager to learn about the personality of Godhead and his incarnations. Please explain to us those teachings imparted by previous masters, Acharya, for one is uplifted both by speaking them and by hearing them. Purport. The conditions for hearing the transcendental message of the Absolute Truth are set forth herein. The first condition is that the audience must be very sincere and eager to hear, and the speaker must be in the line of the disciplic succession from the recognized Acharya. The transcendental message of the Absolute is not understandable by those who are materially absorbed. Under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master, one becomes gradually purified. Therefore, one must be in the chain of disciplic succession and learn the spiritual art of submissive hearing. In the case of Sutta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya, all these conditions are fulfilled because Srila Sutta Goswami is in the line of Srila Vyasadeva, and the sages of Naimisharanya are all sincere souls who are anxious to learn the truth. Thus, the transcendental topics of Lord Shri Krishna's superhuman activities, his incarnation, his birth, appearance or disappearance, his forms, his names, or so on, are all easily understandable because all requirements are fulfilled. Such discourses help all men on the path of spiritual realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hmm. So, the first condition is that the audience must be very sincere and eager to hear. So, Krishna explains in the 18th chapter, that this message may not be explained to those who are not austere or pure or those who are envious of me. So, actually, when we are preaching to people who are not so interested, so we are actually committing an aparadh. Those who hear the message of the Godhead and do not follow it sincerely, or doubt it, or who are not interested, then we are committing an offense because Krishna says that. So, what should be done? So, here Srila Prabhupada gives a very clear example, like it gives a very clear understanding. So, in first case, he gives the example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Mahaprabhu would just give holy name to the general masses, okay, just chant and be happy. For those who are sincere, like his disciples, those who accepted to be his disciples, Mahaprabhu discussed the Bhagavatam, and those who are completely on the liberated platform, Mahaprabhu discussed with them the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that should be taken as a guideline. We can't sit in general public and discuss intimate leelas of Radha and Krishna or Mahaprabhu because such people have no faith. They are sahajiyas, cheap people who would just take these activities cheaply. And therefore, we commit an offense, our own faith in the process weakens. So that's one example. And the second one is Srila Prabhupada explains that we observe a person for 6 months. If he does not exhibit Brahminical qualities, then we just let him go. Prabhupada said that you accept a person into the movement, but when you see that he's not willing to put in effort or become Brahminical in 6 months, then he's useless. So that's the law. We should not aim to cultivate many people at the same time if they are not serious. This is the first condition, sincere and eager. Sincerity and eagerness. Without this, there is no point. There is no point in preaching because the other person will never understand the personality of Godhead. See, the transcendental message of Absolute is not understandable by those who are materially absorbed. Jibhara lalasa jei iti uti dhai, Shishnodara parayan Krishna nahi paye. So just for the satisfaction of one's tongues and genitals, if a person wanders here and there, such a person can never understand, can never obtain Krishna. Bahujanma jadi kare Shravana Kirtan, tabhutana pabe Krishna pade premadhan. So one may even make a pretension of executing devotional service, But if a sincere desire to leave this material world is not there, a sincere desire to hear from sadhus is not there, then one will never obtain the love of Godhead, even though one may execute this process for millions of lifetimes. Tabhu tana pabe Krishna pade prem than. Bahu janma yadi kare shravana kirtan. So one must follow the disciplic succession. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So one very common thing is, what is the desire to serve? If the other person is rude and crude and is just pretending to be an elevated soul, but not willing to render any devotional service, then such a person should be understood to be a lazy and charlatan, to be a lazy person and charlatan. Such a person is not interested in bhakti, he is simply curious. Such a person is simply making a show of devotion. If the desire to serve the spiritual master is not there, then so much bhakti is just show off. And therefore, we should not waste time. If a person, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini, Shuni Chaiva Shupake Cha, Pandita Samdarshina. So, Vidya and Vinaya, if knowledge and humility are not together, then such a person is so much nonsense. Therefore, Suta Goswami has these qualifications. Because he is in the line of Srila Vyasadeva, Srila Suta Goswami heard from Shukadeva Goswami. Therefore, he comes in disciplic succession from Srila Vyasadeva, and he's exhibiting all these qualifications. Therefore, the sages of Naimisharanya are eager to hear from him. So, therefore, we should not hear from a person who is just knowledgeable and arrogant, but from a person who has sincerely served the spiritual master, who's knowledgeable, and who's also very humble. Because Krishna will not manifest in the heart of a person who is egoistic. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments? Okay, so we stop here today. I think we should make this time uniform because I don't think everyone is from, everyone has the time here and this